students. I'm feeling very nice to meet you by online through YouTube channel, and this is my first video for the class 5th. As we know, the whole world have been suffering from coronavirus disease 19, and that's why I request you all to please stay at home and stay safe. Now our government has decided, and also school has decided, to impart the informations by online. So that's why I brought you first this video for the class 5th. Now the class 5th, your first chapter is evolution of the computer. Now evolution, you know, this is a gradual development in any sphere, in any area. So now in the computer also has a gradual development in step by step, and we can understand by this, generate by this, the enhancement of the technology and enhancement of the machine, you can say. So now the first topic here about the early calculating device. But before going to on the topic of the early calculating device, we will talk first about the abacus. And abacus was the first calculating device. And you know, this calculating device was the 3000 BC. BC, as you know, students, you know, before the Christ. Before Christ means, that is, you can say, the birth of the Jesus Christ. So now this was the history of the computer, started by the abacus. And abacus, you can say, that was the wooden rod, and as the string, on the string you can say there were the beads, and in every string there are the definite certain amount of the beads. By that beads the people count the number of the beads and execute the calculation. After that, the many inventions occurred, like that is here the Napier bones. That was the calculation device, the first mechanical calculation device, that was invented by the Sir John Napier in 1617, and this was the first, you can say, also the mechanical calculating device, but that was the made up of ivory rod and the bones. That was in the rectangular box, and given as a vertical column of the size. Then after, there were certain number given at there. So this way the people used to count the numbers correctly. But that was the calculation was not easy task for the common people, and that was very slow to calculate. But after that, the Pascaline calculator, this was the enhanced in the machine era, and it was invented in the 1642. And this was the Pascaline, as you can say, the Pascaline was enhanced in comparison than as the Napier bones, but it was given in the rectangular box, and there were the wheel, there were the certain number of the wheels, and displayed the certain number on that wheel. By one gear, then it regulate, and automatically it regulate and give the desired calculation. But that was also not easy, and they perform the calculation. And then after that, the difference engine, the difference engine, that was invented by the Charles Babbage. And Charles Babbage, we know, the father of the computer, and that was invented in the 1822. This was the first mechanical calculating device which can calculate the multiplication and division. Then after that, the Analytical Engine in 1837. This was the remarkable era, remarkable time for computer era, because the Charles Babbage gave the idea, gave the concept by this analytical engine. In this analytical engine was the concept. What do we see today? The computer have the storage and the capacity to store the data, the input and output process and processing system. They were given in this analytical engine. So that's why the Charles Babbage is considered the father of the computer, because he gave the first time the concept about the computer. Now, thereafter we understand here the generations of the computer. Now, generation of the computer means step by step evolving of the computer. Means generation means you can say if you want to know the more about the computer, then you have to understand step by step. So now the generation of the computer, it will tell you about the one by one about the computer. So now first generation, as we can understand here, the first generation of the computer in the 1942 and 1958. In the 1958 till was the first generation computer. There are some characteristics of the first generation computer we can read and we can understand about by my video. Now the first generation computer characteristics, you can say the main component of the first generation's computer was the vacuum tubes, and the second, it operate and manipulate the operation in a only low level language. It was the use in a size, and you can say it consumed the lots of the electricity. So that's why it is not the simple calculation machine. It was not the simple machine for the simple people, because the language was very tough, and the people can communicate that time to the computer by only 0 and 1. Now, after the second, if we go to the second generation's computer, we find the main component of the second generation computer, transistor and diode. The second generation computer, we can know the time of the second generation computer, 1959 to 1963. So 1963 till it was the time of the second generation. The second generation, you can say, but I want to tell you the more about the first generation. That the first generation example also. Example here, the first generation ENIAC and UNIVAC. ENIAC, that is a electronic numerical integrator and computer, and second here the UNIVAC, universal automatic computer. Those computers were developed by J.K. Eckert and John W. Mitchell. This was the first generation computer. And if we want about know the second generation computer, the example here, the second generation computer IBM, that is given in the full form International Business Machine, and 1401 and RCA. These were machines of the second generation computer. In the second generation, I was telling you about the second generation. In the second generation computer, there were some important component, that is I told you, the transistor and diode. Transistor and diodes were the main component of the second generation computer. And storage capacity is more enhanced than the first generation computer, and the input and output processing by the punch card and magnetic drum. So this was the input and output processing, but it was the you can say uses the lots of the it consumed the lots of the electricity, and that's why the language were the some complication, because the assembly language that was time, an assembly language that is also called the mnemonic code. Mnemonic code, it is you can say it is uses the symbols instead of the directly the 0 1, but the computer understands the 0 1, as we know today's computer also understand only the 0 1, but there is some compiler and interpreter. You can say these are the translating device and translating some component which convert our language into the computer language. The second generation also, and there was some problem to understand directly to the computer language. So that's why the introduced the second generation language, that was the assembly language, and which component translate the assembly language, that is called the assembler. So this was the second generation, and second generation computer, as I told earlier, the IBM and 1401 and RCA, that was the second generation computer. In third generation, if we go to the third generation, we find the date of the third generation 1964 to 1970, and these are the example of the IBM 360 and Apple I. These were the computer of the third generation computer. In third generation computer, we find the IC instead of the transistor and diodes. And third generation computer, we can say it enhanced, you can say, in the computer era. Enhancing the computer era step by step, it gave the lots of the new machine and new technology for the computer world. So now in the third generation, we find the IC here, and this computer was the more flexible, more, you can say, enhanced and more upgraded than the second and first generation. And in this generation, the high level language introduced in the place of the assembly language. In the third generation language, we find here the languages like COBOL, ALGOL, Pascal, Fortran. These were the third generation language, and this was the sophisticated than the first and second generation, because in this generation we find the uses of the keyboard, monitor, and mouse for inputting and output. So now this was the third generation, and the fourth generation, we can see the time of the fourth generation 1971 to present day. So now present here, and these are the example IBM PC and Apple Macintosh operating computers are such example of the fourth generation computer. In fourth generation computer, you can say the main component of the fourth generation computer is a microprocessor. In the microprocessor, we can say it is a more powerful chip. And in the one more powerful chip, that is a CPU, it is called also CPU, as we know the common name the CPU, but it is also called the chip. And in this chip, you can say there are the 1 million, can be 1 million the IC in a one chip. So it means it has enhanced the performance and enhanced the manipulations and manipulate the operation. In the fourth generation, we find the using of the such a high level language, such a using of the graphics and such a application software which you can say make our easy life and make our easy the work of the computer. So now it is the fourth generation computer and the fifth generation computer. It is a present to future. Present to future means this example here, the fifth generation computer will be based on the AI technology. AI technology, that is called the artificial intelligence. And this type of computer will use the super IC, that is called the super IC means super integrated circuit. This will be the more enhanced than the earlier computer, and this computer will understand the language of the human being, mean it will be able to understand and recognize the language of the human, and it will recognize, it can recognize also the image and voice recognition. Now today we also can see the example of the such image recognitions and the voice recognition. Now today we can say to the mobile to execute or to search any informations, we can find very easily by the Google, to saying only by the speaker. So now this is the such example of the AI based, and the AI based will be more enhanced in the future. We will see the many different such a you can say amazing type of the gadgets, amazing type of the machine will be. Now students, these were the generations of the computer, and now we can find more about the types of the computer. Now types of the computer, as I told you in the class, the types of the computer, there are the four types of the computer: micro, mini, mainframe and supercomputer. So now student, this is your homework to find more about these types of the computer, and you can say this is your homework also. You can find these informations by online, by the Google as a search engine. You will say to the Google, and to find about these types of the computer, you will get the informations very easily. So now students, keep watching my videos, and next video will be for your the types of the computer. Thank you.